unlocking your world of creativity with best-selling author and brand innovator, Mark Stinson. This episode is brought to you by White Cloud Coffee Roasters, nestled in the heart of Idaho's mountain wilderness, where every bean tells a story of adventure. Discover the difference in their premium beans, meticulously roasted to capture the essence of the mountains. Now, listeners of our podcast can get an exclusive 10% discount. Just use the promo code CREATIVITY at checkout. Visit whitecloudcoffee.com and use the code CREATIVITY.
Well, welcome back, friends, to your world of creativity. We're the podcast that we dive deep into the creative process across a wide variety of disciplines. I think just in the past episodes, we've had some great conversations with best-selling authors about the art of storytelling. We've talked to songwriters about the inspiration behind their lyrics. We've talked to interior designers who are sharing their craft about creating spaces, architects who are bringing their ideas to life through design, even scientists who approach their work with a creative mindset. And today we're going to have a lot of fun bringing it all together. I'm thrilled to welcome my friend, a creative expert, Alaura Lovelight. Alaura, welcome to the show.
Hi, Mark. Thank you for having me.
We talk about this Venn diagram of creativity, business strategy, even spirituality that helps creatives thrive, sometimes heal. They need to overcome so many obstacles. You're an R&B singer-songwriter yourself. You moved into some TV and music production. You've become a mindset-focused creative business coach. I really want to talk about this approach you've developed that you call conscious creativity, elevating the humanness of our creativity. Let's get into that a little bit. Can you share with us what it means to you to help creatives align their art with their higher purpose?
Oh, I love that. I love that. And that is really the core of everything that I do, from TV to music to coaching to everything. Creativity is so special. It is the most special thing that we have. And I say, until I'm a broken record, that all of us are creative. And I think that a big part of the mission with my company, Lovelight Sound, is to change people's paradigm about what being a creative person means. Because the fact of the matter is, like, even if we don't want to go into this existential, like, spiritual, like, we all came from our mother. So we're all created. We all know that we're created. Something created us, wherever you want to go with that. But we've all been created into these physical forms of being a human being. And so it is natural, it is logical that we are creative because we were created. And so I think that people really understanding the weight of that and having a real clear understanding of the fact that you are a creative being, the fact that you can take a creative idea out of who knows where, this matrix of the universe, and turn it into something, and turn it into a business idea, and turn it into a song, and turn it into anything, architecture. All of that is creative. And so I think it's very important that if we can understand how to tap into our creative, like, all of that spirituality on a more conscious level, on a way of really having a curiosity about, like, where are these creative ideas coming from, and how can I get more of them, and how can they be a more pure form of a creative idea rather than going through all these limiting beliefs that I might have, and then I get the idea and it's, forget it, not a good idea anymore. How do we move past all of that into what I like to call conscious creativity? And I think that's going to expand the universe. Actually, I know it expands the universe when we can tap into that. And it just deepens our connection and our expansion on this planet.
Yes. And bringing in this idea of connections. Listeners, I can't wait. Later in the show, we're going to be sharing a story about how Alaura, in working with me even, help bring together a lot of these and connect a lot of dots with my own passions into a business deal. This is the podcast, and we love to talk about the theories of creativity, but actually putting these into practice. So it's going to be a lot of fun getting to that. So stay tuned for that. You listed off so many hats that you love to wear: R&B artist, producer, business coach. What is your, I'll say, life secret? But you're balancing a lot of these roles, turning on the light switches in any of these areas at any one given time. How are you staying true to your own creative vision? Because I know as I counsel and coach and consult with people all the time, and it's easy to get absorbed into their passions when you want to help them kick off their idea. But you have your own visions. You want to maintain your own mindfulness and your own balance in your work. How do you do that?
Yeah, that's such a good question. There's no secret. There's no like recipe for having balance. I think for me, it's just a matter of practicing what I preach. I'm constantly telling clients and people on social media and my mailing list and all of that, make sure you're making space for your creativity and make sure, and I can't say that if I'm not doing it myself.
Hmm.
And so I, again, with the conscious piece, I really practice a lot of meditation, a lot of, and like I'm a business oriented person. You know, for your listeners who maybe don't know me, I'm very much about business and I love creating my business and I love building businesses because it's creative. And so it's a different side of that. But it's important to not lose yourself in that, like you're saying, right? And so I do make sure that a couple things. I make sure that I work on my own creative projects. And in the last year, I've really found a joy in not working on them for a particular end goal. Oh, I'm going to make an album, or oh, I'm going to do this. Yes, those things are in the works. Yes, those things are happening. But writing because I love to write, writing an article because I love to write an article. And if it sits in my computer, that's okay.
Mhm.
And writing a song that I just listen to while I take a walk because it makes me happy. And knowing that at some point those things come out. And as artists, we like to have them perfected in a certain way. But I think for everybody with creativity, it's important to flex that creativity, to flex that muscle of creativity regardless of the outcome.
Hmm.
And so that's I guess my secret sauce is to just say, okay, it's 6 o'clock. It's time to stop working for a little bit and write some music or work on painting or something that's creative just for the creative. Because again, it's like a muscle. So the more that we exercise our creativity, even when it's not for an outcome, the more we're tapping into that, the more we're allowing that to flow through us. And that's my own
Mhm.
personal
Yeah.
practice.
I'm glad you brought up just for the creativity of it, just for the fun of it sometimes. Because if we get into it's a art for business, we are in business, we're chasing the money sometimes even. Like I have to make something out of this
Mm,
or it's not
mm,
really real. You're saying, hey, a hobby is good. You
mhm.
may be a singer-songwriter, but let's do some painting because
Yep.
it accesses some other synapses and the work will be better on the other side sometimes.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
If you flex that
Definitely.
creative muscle in some of the
Yeah. Like I'm not, this is like a funny random tidbit about me, but I really like home projects. I love to paint a shelf or paint a, I'm really into that. And I'm definitely not a draw, like I don't draw, I don't paint for real. That's not my creative thing. But I really enjoy the fact that just doing that and completing it and taking something and making it better, making it different. And I really enjoy stuff like that. My family always teases me like, "Oh yeah, Laura, she'll do the home thing." I love it. Because it's creative. Same with cooking. I'm not a chef at all, but I really enjoy cooking because it's creative. And
love
I
that.
think again, back to that first point I was saying is letting people, especially your listeners, getting into a place of understanding, oh, my love for cooking is a creative thing. I never thought about that before. That's really big with Love Light Sound and with the programs that I create. I want people to shift that paradigm, shift that mindset of, oh, I love to do at home projects. I love to cook. I never thought of that as creative. And getting them in a space where they're understanding, oh, and that's where the creativity kind of flourishes more.
Mhm. And so many creatives struggle with self-doubt, even
Mm-hmm.
on the one end and burnout on the other. I've been doing this
Mm-hmm.
so long, so hard, I just can't do it anymore. Or if this work doesn't take, I'm going to quit. We've got to incorporate that too. And I know that a lot of your work has this kind of healing, self-care approach to it. And some of it is diving into creativity for creativity's sake, but some of it is, I don't know, it's beyond just get over yourself. I know that. Yeah,
More than that.
a little bit more. Tell us about that approach.
So I teach a lot of mindfulness with my programs because whatever you want to achieve, if you want to have an album, if you want to be in architecture, if you want to write a book, whatever you want to do, there's a reason. That's a creative desire of your heart. And this is an example I always use, right? I could care less about golf. I could care less about golf. It is zero desire of my heart. Zero. Because that's not my calling. It's not what I'm supposed to do. It's not in me to do that. Some people, that's their entire life. It's their obsession. They love it. They spend every day perfecting it. And how do I do this? And because that's for them. And it's important to know, first and foremost, the creative desire of your heart is meant for you. It is there for a purpose. It is there for a reason. You want to make a podcast, you want to write a book, you want to do an album because you're supposed to, because there's something inside you that's supposed to. But also, there are so many things that we go through in life that it's not part of the public school curriculum to teach like how to observe your thoughts. They need to have a class on that. But that's a whole different topic. But it's not, we're not taught that our mind shapes our reality. It really does. And some people, especially we're in a business conversation, right? So sometimes people get, oh, it really does. And you have to look at the way that you think about things is really influencing the way that your creativity is flowing out into the universe. And so if you don't believe that, if you have a belief system that you are a starving artist, that nobody makes money on writing books, that this and that and the other, then that will be your reality. And so that is really a pillar of all the programs that I teach and all the conversations that I have, because so many people, like we're in the human experience. We all have these, if you look across the world, everybody wants the same stuff. Everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants to do what they love. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to, have fun and have joy. It's the same, universal, because that's what we are meant to be doing. And so the real work, the real self-work is, how do I break down those limiting beliefs? How do I look at my brain as a computer and say, oh, wait a second, these programs are running and they're corrupting my computer. I need to flesh that out.
So good.
Yeah.
And this goes beyond theory. And this is a good time, I think, to get into our story, Alaura, that Alaura believes in these mastermind groups, as I do. And those of you who know me know that I love to get together groups of 8 people to bounce ideas and learn and construct. But Alaura was putting together a group, and she said, you've got podcasts, you've got books, people are doing deals and interviews. How can you build your audience, multi-purpose your content, gain sponsors, monetize all this kind of stuff? So I said, I jumped in that pool, and Laura facilitated us for a year or so, several weeks, for sure. And I had so many insights and connected so many dots. And now we love to tell the story of how I went to get a coffee sponsor and ended up becoming part owner of the deal and launching, because it was my passion. Just what you're talking about, overcoming the, I could never do that, I don't know how to do it, and everything else. So I love to tell this story, Alaura, and every time I'm in my coffee shop and somebody says, how did all this happen? I get to tell our story again.
Oh, I love that.
So it's really
I
fun.
love that. That's amazing. Yeah.
But you've had a chance to learn from these other participants, as I have too. You were as much a part of the group as the facilitator of the group. What were some of the key insights you took away about combining creativity with business strategy?
A couple things. One, I'm always inspired by like new groups and new clients, because it reminds me that people love their creativity as much as I do. For a long time, especially before working as a coach and working as a facilitator and things like that, it was like, nobody loves music like I love music. There's no way that you love creativity like I do. And so to connect with so many people really all around the world, we have clients in the UK and Canada and all over, and really hearing how much they have a passion for this project and this thing they want to create, and seeing that through the eyes of this consciousness, not as myself, and seeing, wow, these are all our creative projects. They all come from the same cosmic whatever. So that was really beautiful, and continues to be a really beautiful experience for me. Also, I think the number one thing I notice with clients is that they have a creative passion, but they don't always have a direction. And that was something I really saw across the board with people, that I'll say, okay, what's the goal? Where do we go? What's our goal? And it's usually very broad or very vague. I want to make a podcast, or I want to make an album, or whatever the case may be. And it's really important with these creative projects that you have to have a business strategy, to have a business mindset. Okay, if you're putting money into your podcast, let's figure out how we can just cover the costs. Okay. A lot of creative people, again, we love it so much, we forget that we're creating something that other people is a service to other people. A podcast is a service to other people. And I think really helping people shift their mindset from, I love this so much and it's so fun for me, I have to sacrifice or victim or whatever. And it's actually, no, you can walk into a coffee shop and say, I have this piece of the puzzle, you have this piece of the puzzle, let's get together and work together. And sometimes that looks like a paid sponsor for your podcast. Sometimes that looks a business deal with somebody. Sometimes that looks like a trade partnership where you say, I give you this, you give me this, and whatever. And it's just really transforming to understanding the value of your creativity to other people, to the world, and understanding it's very important to have a business mindset around those things. And when I say business mindset, it means you got to have a structure. You got to have an end goal. You got to know where you're going. And again, like that's a little bit opposite of what I said in the beginning, but there is a beautiful dance between having an end goal, having a clear vision, knowing exactly what you're working towards, and also being going with the flow, allowing this to unfold or this to unfold. You had approached that coffee shop as a paid sponsor, right? Because that was a great idea, and it transformed into something else, and it became an amazing opportunity for you because you allowed that to flow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so many other relationships, personal and otherwise, have developed from that. So it's really good. I want to ask you some more about your own journey, but I think this is a good time, Alaura. People are going to want to connect with you and learn about your work and your offerings. So how can we find you and learn about your programs?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a couple different programs online. I have the program that Mark is talking about called 90 Days to Made and Paid. I also have a program for specifically like music artists and podcasters. That's called 30 Days to Creative Liftoff. And I love working with clients. So if you have a question or you're interested, my go-to at Alaura Lovelight is where you can definitely find me if you send me a message. You can also send an email to the Alaura Show at Gmail. That's my personal email. I'm happy to answer that and chat with you. And I always love to hear from people who are like, I have this creative idea. I don't know what to do with it, or I don't know how to turn it into a business. I love that. And it's so fun to hear from people like that. So yeah, please.
Yeah.
You know?
I love the title of the programs. Imagine what you could do in 30 days.
Yeah.
It seems like a short time, or I don't know, maybe you look at it and go 30 days, but wow, it can be transformative.
Yeah.
And I think
Yes.
that's what I wanted to ask you about your own journey. Maybe I'll put it in context of 30 days, but was there a turning point, a fork in the road, a 30-day period where you said, I'm going to take a different approach? I've been looking at my own, maybe it was the music work, maybe it was the TV show, maybe it was, should I put my programs in an online setting, whatever it was. And you said, I need to take 30 days and rethink this and combine my own creativity with my own spirituality. How did that influence you? And can you think of a time that really turned the corner for you?
Yeah, I love that you asked that. It's not really something I've talked about before because nobody's asked. But interestingly enough, that is a rule that I have for myself. If I start to embark on a new business venture or creative project or whatever, I say, I'm going to give myself 30 days and I'm not going to take score of anything. How well it's doing, how many people bought it, how many this, how many that, 30 days. And if you're listening and you want to challenge yourself with that 30-day challenge, I would highly encourage it because a lot of limiting beliefs will come up that says, oh, this isn't working. Oh, nobody bought this. Oh, my business, whatever. But then you have to stop yourself and say, nope, we're not taking score for 30 days. We're not taking score for 30 days. And every single time I've done that, usually the 27th day,
Isn't that amazing?
everything starts to unfold because not only are you reprogramming and rewiring limiting beliefs that you didn't know were there until you are embarking on this new project, but you're giving the universe time to let that marinate, let that unfold, let those connections happen, magnetize that to yourself. And so one specific example that kind of started me on that mentality was really when I went and did my radio run for my single Eroticy in 2021. Wow, that feels like a million years ago. 2021. My single came out in September, and I decided I was going to run my own radio promo campaign, which has now turned into my digital product, which is so amazing and exciting. But when I did that, I thought, okay, I got to give myself 30 days. People are not going to read my email and put it on the radio. That's just something I have to, there's going to be some back and forth. There's going to be some follow-up. There's going to be all of that I have to give space for, that I have to give room for. So I'm not going to make any judgments on whether this works or not, because I had never done that before. I was in the process of negotiating like a record deal. And this is all these things they were telling me they were going to do. Everything fell apart. It was during COVID. And I thought, I think I can do that myself. And so I took the strategies that were already in place for me with this label, and I figured out how to do it myself. And so that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna not take. I don't know if this works or not. They say it works. They say this is what they're gonna do. So let me try it. And I was reaching out 4 a.m. I'm up researching these contacts that, by the way, now you can buy all 1,000 of them with the click of a button. So if you're an artist out there listening, you probably need that.
Yes.
But really, honestly, spending hours and hours a week creating spreadsheets. Who's the program director? Who's this person? Who's this person? And day after day, sending emails to radio stations, sending emails to program directors, calling the radio station. Did you get my email? Are you playing the record? And honestly, at least 2.5 weeks went by where it was nothing. Zero. Nothing happened. And because of this rule of 30 days, I said, okay, we're not throwing in the towel yet. It feels like nothing's happening, but I got to keep pounding the pavement. I got to keep reaching out. And literally the last week of that 30 days, I got an email that somebody was playing the record. And then I got another one, and they started to pour in. And by December, 100 radio stations were playing the song.
Love that.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people would say, I'll give it the 30 days, but they wouldn't say, and I won't keep score. They'd be looking at day 2, day 3, day 4, and say, what are sales?
Yeah.
What's response? What's my open rate? What's my whatever? Because even on email campaigns, if you look in the first 30 seconds, your open rate could be X, but in another 3 days could be Y. Whatever the case is. I love that technique. 30 days,
Yeah.
but don't keep watching the clock.
You can't keep score.
Don't watch the water boil.
Totally. Imagine like a sports game, right? They're not at halftime. If you're losing, it's anybody's game.
That's right.
Yeah, it's anybody's game. So you just have to know that for yourself, and that you get to push the clock. If 30 days comes and you push it to 45, so what?
Yep. So good.
Yeah.
Alaura, can't thank you enough for sharing your insights on conscious creativity. You've reminded me, I think we first met in 2021. I was listening to this great song called Eroticy, and look at where we've come. in those intervening
Mhm.
years. So love seeing the business side and the mindfulness side all come together in a beautiful Venn diagram. So
Mhm.
thanks for
Mhm.
being on
Mhm.
this show and sharing your journey.
Thank you so much for having me, Mark.
Thanks to you for all the great reviews and feedback we've gotten. This is our sixth year of the podcast, and I can't believe how the years have gone by. But your support keeps us going. We love to hear from you. We have looked at the business side of our podcast and our business too, all sorts of content creations and articles and white papers and books and all sorts of things. And it's all been because of your support. So thanks a lot. And I can't help but to mention our sponsor because Alaura, this is where it all comes full circle.
That was right.
And because I got involved in the coffee shop, I met a great coffee roaster, White Cloud Coffee Roasters. Now they sponsor our podcast. They have some great
Amazing.
beans and blends, and it's all shipped to your house. And they offer a 10% discount when you use the code CREATIVITY at checkout. So go to their website, whitecloudcoffee.com. It's what we serve at my own coffee shop, Eagle Coffee, and they'll take care of you. I love Harvey. I love my partnership with Hadley. It's been terrific, and it was all because of some of the ideas we cooked up, Alora. So see how it
I
all
love
comes
that.
full circle?
I love that. Look at that. We're tied in a bow.
Tie it in a bow. So listeners, come back again next time. We're going to continue these conversations all over the world with creative practitioners about how they get inspired. We've talked about organizing ideas on and then gaining confidence, gaining connections to launch our work out into the world. So until next time, I'm Mark Stinson, and we'll keep unlocking your world of creativity.